And then when they come to set, I'm like, oh my God, their vibe is so different from their photo.
Listening to Element Band, I always skip the other songs. I always go to the one that Soseh is singing.
Yes, kom sirun shivarutsur khio khio khane khane.
So my guest today is Soseh Aramouni Keshishian. We want to hear more about your creative journey, how you started being a costume designer.
Yes.
And what does that mean? And what do you do? You know, how much does it pay? No, we don't need to know how much it pays. We just need to know, you know, is this the life that keeps you going? You love it? You want to do more of it? Yeah?
Always.
Yeah? Good. So how am I dressed?
Amazing. Love it.
Yeah?
Love the print. Love the color combo.
Very summery.
Done. Yeah.
The tan and everything. Okay, so let's continue in the studio and we can talk with Soseh in just a few minutes. How does one become a costume designer? Like, do you study that? Or
some people do go to school for it. I did not. And I did start what would be considered later for production. I was 29.
Soseh, what is costume designer?
Costume designer creates an actor's character through their wardrobe. So I work with the director, and sometimes I work with the actor and the writers to build someone's character through their wardrobe, through what they're wearing.
So it's not just choosing the outfit, it's making that person's character come out?
Yes.
So do you use it for like film or TV shows or commercials?
Mostly commercials.
Yeah.
I mostly work in advertising, but I do shop on TV or film every now and again, but 90% of my work is on commercials.
Do you like what you do?
I love what I do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming there's a lot of shopping involved.
Yeah. A lot of shopping.
So you actually get paid to go shopping.
That's what it seems like, but it's a little more intentional than just, I am at malls all day, and I feel like everyone at the stores recognizes me. But I shop all day, but with very specific intentions, whether it's colors, fabrics, textures. It just all depends on the character that I'm looking to shop for.
I went to design school. It was interior design in Montreal. And we learned about color, you know, what color psychology was. And we learned about space, obviously, because of interior design. We learned about different schools of thoughts, you know, how to design a space based on, I don't know, Mondrian's color schemes in space, right? So we would learn that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. A lot of creativity comes intuitively as well. Like you sort of feel it, and it's things that we learn as we live, right? So things we've seen, people we've interacted with.
Yes.
Yeah. So it like I can sort of think that when you're dressing someone, you're thinking of somebody you've met or somebody you've seen. Or
yes. And it also, you know, has to do with, I can see an actor's photo and then I shop for them. And then when they come to set, I'm like, oh my God, their vibe is so different from their photo. And then that becomes a whole, you know, challenge within itself. But I'm also constantly looking, if I go to different places, I'm always in the back of my mind kind of checking out what people are wearing in case I have a crowd scene at a concert, or if I have, you know, a high-end restaurant, or, you know, we were in Las Vegas a couple of months ago and there was a convention of some like bank, you know, we're walking through the casino and I'm just like checking people up and down because I'm like, oh, I'm probably going to need this information. So it's, you know, like what kind of blazers are they wearing? It's usually like a sport coat. It's Vegas, it's hot, so it's a linen sport coat. So it's
This is the kind of research creatives would do: is observe, feel, remember, critique. Even sometimes you see someone and say, "That's not what you should have worn today."
My entire life. Sorry. Like, I just want to give someone just hem the pant a little bit more, it'd be perfect.
Actually, I wouldn't mind someone telling me that on a not every day, because then your ego kind of hits the floor.
Well, my life motto is you don't give someone advice on something unless they ask for it. So I won't ever say it. Okay. And I'm never judging, because it's that's my job,
That's right.
But it's always just oh, that would have been so cool if it was the hemline was an inch and a half shorter.
So you've been doing this for how many years?
13 years.
Long enough to know the changes that happened in the industry, and especially now with, the new technologies in advertising and in the film industry and in general, in production, things that have changed in the industry that have impacted your job.
AI.
Okay. I think everybody answers that. Yeah. Can you be more specific though?
I think for right now, it's the fear of AI, and it has everyone on edge. Another thing for LA is the ability to film internationally easier and to be able to outsource things internationally. The world has gotten a lot smaller, so a lot of productions are leaving LA, and that's
I know they come to Canada a lot.
A lot. I've lost a lot of. It's okay. Listen, everyone deserves work. No hate at all.
As a Canadian, I have to say sorry every other.
You don't need to apologize. It's understandable. It's cheaper. A lot of commercials now that I work on are non-union, and they used to all be union commercials. I kind of started working in this boom of commercials in LA, and gosh, what year was it? 2011-ish? Oh, gosh, I guess I've been doing this longer than, about 14 years. There was this huge boom, and we could not keep up with the demand. And, probably 2016, 2017, there was just so many huge budget commercials being made. And I was just turning jobs down left and right. I couldn't get a day off. It was great, but now it's just slowed down so much. Budgets have gone down. They're not union jobs anymore. It's everything is just looking very different. Production scale has gotten smaller. Budgets have gotten smaller. Things they're still trying to work out IP and intellectual property stuff with AI too. I think we're in this weird middle ground where there's a little bit of fear that we don't know where the content's coming from. Plus, it's still you might have an actress eating a hamburger, but she doesn't have an arm, but it's still holding on. A hand is still holding on to like a floating hand in space. So it's we're still working on some.
Well, I think there's a lot to do with AI that we haven't done yet.
Yeah. From
intellectual property, but also the use of real faces from around the world, incorporating them.
Yeah.
Just because Meta and all these other platforms have made us sign
our life
our lives away. No, seriously. I mean, they can use all of our photos the way they want.
Yeah.
Just recently, I read somewhere that I think it was Denmark that passed a law where humans, citizens of Denmark, can actually go to court and defend the use of their face.
That's amazing.
It is amazing, and that's the kind of intellectual property process that is going to happen over the years. The thing is, AI is growing so fast that human capacity isn't able to keep up. But I think at some point it'll the craze will dwindle down. We'll understand it better, and we'll know how to live with it. Because it's not something that's going away anytime soon. It's not going away,
yeah. And I want to resist it, but I feel like when you resist something that's just profitable and not going anywhere, you're just going to get left behind. I'm at this point where I'm trying to figure out, I haven't figured it out yet,
Right.
but I'm trying to figure out how to incorporate myself into that world, because otherwise, you know, I'm going to have to find a new job.
Speaking of this is important conversation in the sense of, you know, any creative in any specific industry in any country of the world. But let's talk about where you live. You know, with a lot of changes now, not only with technology. So how do you think that, you know, young artists are able to live and survive and do what they love to do?
It's tough. It's a tough question because being in California, we're kind of in like this little bubble.
Right.
Because our economy is so big. The bigger issue is us not knowing what's going to happen. So
the uncertainty.
It's this uncertainty of, and I'm sure that's an uncertainty of like, you know, people investing. It's an uncertainty of where we're going to be in, I want to say 4 years, but even 6 months from now, you know, so everyone's just kind of moving in this world of uncertainty, and we're trying to just kind of go day to day. And, you know, as a white passing woman in California that is financially stable, I'm not super affected by it day to day. Like, I don't have fears that, you know, a lot of other people have. And it's like you know, and I recognize that privilege, but there's still this, you know, level of kind of like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
And it's trickling into kind of every part of our lives and within the economy, and no one really knows what's happening or gonna happen.
It's just happening too fast. I mean, every day there's something, there's some new policy, some new formality and restrictions and
like unconstitutional things, laws being broken, and no consequences. And we're just like, cool. So if there's, you know, if the Supreme Court says that you can't do this and you're still doing it, where does that leave the state of our country? Because then you're just pretty much, you know, the government's just doing whatever they want. So yeah, it's more that just uncertainty of like, we don't even know what to expect. So it's hard to plan. So I can assume that from, you know, an outsider trying to, you know, shoot in the States, like, who knows?
You know, interestingly, reflecting on the scientists and academics, just to do a mirror with the artists, Europe made a big campaign, the European Union, saying, you know, scientists welcome, academics welcome.
Yeah.
So they're ready to embrace those who are left out and of being punished by the administration for using certain words or, you know, believing in certain kind of beliefs.
Believing in science and
any kind of artist-focused invitation that you may have seen or?
No, but if it's available, please.
No, this is interesting. If it's available, that would.
I haven't heard of any, but
I know that there's some money in creative. So there's the Creative Europe. So that's like a foundation that helps creatives or creative projects flourish, but it's nowhere near what the US was supporting globally.
Yeah.
So a lot of those people who are left without the US funds, you know, they just got cut off, are turning to Europe.
Yeah.
I think China and Japan will jump in really soon to fill the void. Unfortunately, Turkey can also fill some of that void for some countries like Central Asia or African countries that were dependent, which gives them a more more loyalty to Turkey and the Erdogan kind of people. Yeah, that's hard to believe that.
It's so weird. Like, who thought, you know, who would have, I mean, I guess it's been like, it was predicted by some people, but you just never imagined that this could be a thing.
So in the family, you must have had, I mean, I know that your family is very creative as well, and there's a lot of creativity oozing from there. So the inspiration that you got perhaps from your father, your aunt, or anyone else, Tell us more about that. As a child, how was it growing up in that environment?
I was born in the 80s, learned English in school. I was one of the only Armenians in my school at the time in Glendale, if you can imagine.
Glendale.
I know. And
you can't find that anymore.
Oh gosh. I mean, we love it, but I grew up in a time where, Armenian immigrants were slowly coming into the city, into Glendale specifically, and I was the translator in class.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Because they didn't have teachers' aides, or, no one was kind of expecting this influx of Armenian immigrants. So that was really interesting. I think an experience that was very unique to that time. But growing up, my dad is a writer, playwright. My mom had a hair salon. She did really beautiful. Sometimes I look at her pictures. I'm like, she had this artistry with how she was able to kind of make these beautiful sculptures with hair. And we constantly had people from Armenia staying at our house. If someone came, they had an art show.
In the 80s. That was during the 90s. 90s. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, this was more in the 90s. Yeah. We had a 2-bedroom house. I shared a room with my sister and my grandma. And in the living room would be a mattress. And, if someone came to do a play, or if someone was releasing a book, or if someone had a concert, we just constantly had this, rollover of artists from Armenia just staying in our house. And it was very normal. I thought that everyone's house was like
that. Yeah.
And, people would come over and we'd have these big dinners with, different people, coming to celebrate this person who had a concert or whatever. So
anyone you remember specifically?
I remember my dad's play when I was in the 8th grade. She didn't stay at our house, I don't think, but Anna Elbakyan was in the play. So she was, because they would rehearse at our house. So the entire crew was in our house. It was for Harut Bab. And then Dilit Biboyan was with us. That was amazing. So yeah, there was a lot of different people from the community. So it was super fun. Kind of weird now looking back.
Did any of those people kind of like, you were watching them and you said, I want to be one of them?
Okay, this is going to sound crazy, but I always just felt like I was one of them.
Oh.
But I just always had like a...
Did they make you sing impromptu songs?
I hated it so much.
But I'm going to ask you to sing. Yeah.
So they would always ask me to sing. And for some reason, I would just have like kind of, I'm better now. But up until recently, I would panic because there's something I can sing in front of a bunch of people.
Thousands of people.
Well, but there's lights. You can't see them. But when you're in a room and everyone's just like, staring at you, imagine. And just having to switch, from just being like normal. And then now I'm like performing. It's a switch that it makes me very nervous.
Your voice for me is one of the most beautiful things that I listen to all the time. You said Lilit Biboyan. I mean, she's really beautiful. And her voice and her music, her lyrics. Mm-hmm. But listening to Element Band, I always skip the other songs. I always go to the one that Soseh is singing. And I'm not saying that because you're in front of me now. Mm. I think I've said this to hundreds of people, is just skip the song, the next one. No. That's Soseh's voice, So you do have a beautiful voice. Thank you. And I'm glad that we can talk about what you're doing next. You're recording your own solo album.
Yes, EP. So it's short format. Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's still an achievement. It's really something special, and I can't wait to hear it.
Thank you.
But if you give us a little, like a glimpse of what it's going to sound like, or a song.
We have a panic attack.
Okay.
No,
nobody's watching you. There's lights everywhere.
No, it's fine. So one of the songs I'm recording, I've sang, because I do a cappella stuff, like, work songs and, older songs that generally people have put music to, but generally have been sung, without music.
Right.
Or without a backtrack. So I'm recording 2 of those songs, one of which I haven't really done live that much because we don't really do that kind of vibe with Element, but I have sung like at around, dinner tables or,
Right.
And it's called Rio, which is a
Yeah.
popular song, mostly done with instrumentation, but mine is just going to be done like very clean and, it's a work song that has a rhythm that I majored in ethnomusicology in college, so that's my background. So it's a work song, and the rhythm goes with the grinding of wheat. So when it goes Rio, Rio, Hane, Hane, it's like for them to be able to keep the rhythm of grinding,
Right.
the grinding of the wheat.
So I'll keep that image in my mind as you sing it.
Yes. Okay. It's very early and I didn't warm up, but I apologize. Dănenelar lurkainartun Mechkat barak hanchari biur Kami dizani tu shurmur Yeskyo sirun shivarutsur Chio, chio, chane, chane Chio, chio, chane, chane. That's one of the verses.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I can actually see people working to that rhythm and not just the motion that you showed. Like I can see people cutting, people weaving, and I can see that the rhythm in the whole motion of the song.
And it's work songs generally do have that rhythm, and you'll notice there's a lot of repetition, and it could be, a call and response, as they say. So one person's leading,
right.
So you can say Rio, Rio, and then everyone else that is there goes Hane, Hane, and it keeps you busy because when you're out in the field or whatever you're doing, there's no radio or, podcasts, earpods, whatever.
Right,
so you just entertain yourself. And that's where a lot of these songs originate from.
And unfortunately, these days, we don't see it. Like when we go on field trips, everybody has their earpods and they're doing their own thing. And there's that collective, singing together that binds it and creates that community, sense of community is no longer there. And that's really unfortunate.
Yeah, we still do that with our family. Like New Year's Eve, we had a big party and, everyone started singing and we were all just, harmonizing with each other. And it was so fun, but I'm kind of like the last generation for that. I'm hoping it kind of skips back or goes back down to the next generation. But I was noticing that our generation was like the last.
The last ones. Yeah. You're much younger than I am. But I can see that the new generation is not really picking that up. And sometimes when you say sing along, they're like, I don't have a good voice, and that sort of, they're so self-conscious all the time. It's a pity. It's a pity because they're missing out. Like
it's
really
so much fun.
Singing together is just, it's so healing. It's like a whole process of, letting things out. I remember once when I was in Shushi, early on, like early 2000s, and with a group of volunteers, we heard singing from afar, and we walked towards the music. And it was a group of children. They were called the Varanta group choir, and they were all children of soldiers who had passed away. So it was a Lebanese maestro that had come and brought these kids together, and they were singing like angels. It was just beautiful. It was really something that I will cherish for a long time. And we sat there and we listened to their rehearsals that felt like a concert. It wasn't like a rehearsal. So the collective healing is definitely, collective singing is definitely a healing process for me.
It's interesting you say the choir. My aunt is working in Ushi and she has a children's choir now.
Oh.
They're
so this
amazing.
Is the same aunt that your dad's
my
sister?
Dad's sister. Yeah, she repatriated after 40 years in America. She's been living in Yerevan for 6 years now, and she's doing a lot of work in Ushi, like humanitarian work, rebuilding houses and all that stuff. And she has a children's choir now, and It's really good. And you have to check it out. I'll send you some videos. They're amazing. So
you said you are now recording a solo album, but in the meantime, you're part of the Element Band, which is one of the most beautiful bands in coming out of LA. They're the ones who maintained, or you are the ones who maintained old Armenian music, all Armenian songs that were of my parents' generation, so in the 50s and 60s. But the songs are kept alive because of bands like yours that have contemporary sounds and using different kinds of instruments and arrangements. Are Element still going, right?
Yes, we have a show in LA on August 24th.
There's like 11 or 15 people
12,
on the stage or something
I
crazy
lost
like
count,
that.
And more than like each person plays more than one instrument.
Yeah,
so
and
it's
you
a little
can see
wild.
you can see the change of instruments and the sound of the song. Like the next song, you don't know what is going to.
And the sound check is.
Oh yeah,
is so long.
I could imagine
the line
whole
checks
production, pre-production of that. Yeah. Recording of a solo album comes from.
I've always loved. I've been a member of Element Band for I think not 20 years, probably 17 or 18. I've lost count. And I love the arrangements, and they're so big, right? I've always kind of wanted to do something a little scaled down. And so I just decided to do it. And it's mainly just guitar and vocals for this release, and some acapella.
Do you play the guitar? No, someone else is playing. Okay.
I play the guitar, but I'm definitely not at the skill level to be recording and playing live. But I arranged everything, and that was really scary for me because I've never really done that. I mean, I always knew that I could, but I'm unfortunately in the past have been very risk averse and like fear of failure. And I just said, whatever, I'll just fail. And I just did it.
But that's the whole point of this podcast is we talk about coffee spills, right? Coffee spills is, well, I mean, failure for me, it doesn't really sound like a fatalist word, because you need to fail to know what didn't work.
Yeah.
So that you improve for the next time, or just decide not to do it.
Yeah.
And were there cases where you tried and it didn't work out?
Yeah, I have a lot of unfinished projects. I tend to abandon. I'm very risk averse, or I was. I fixed it because I feel like I've lost so many opportunities by not allowing myself to fail, and where I'll just abandon something so that I don't mess it up. And I think that's a terrible quality to have, especially as a creative.
Yeah.
And it's awful. And so now I'm trying to now I'm like, whatever, I'm just going to fail. It's what if it sucks? Then it'll just suck. You know what I mean?
That's right.
And anytime someone's like, oh, what advice would you give me? I'm like, just mess everything, like burn it down. Like just not on purpose, but
no, not on purpose.
If it just becomes a big dumpster fire, just like put it out and like move on to the next dumpster. You know what I mean? It's fine. So, I don't, my big failure, I would say, is not failing, or is not allowing myself to fail. And that has taken away a lot of, achievements or possible achievements. So I would say that's my biggest coffee spill, is not spilling enough coffee.
That's good.
You know,
you should spill a lot of coffee.
So much. Like, spill it all, you know?
The number of times I've spilled coffees.
Because when you're younger, you think, especially now with social media, it's like, well, what if but no one's going to remember, 20 years later, I don't even remember what I did at 23, It's like, who cares?
There's a new sensation tomorrow, and your failure or whatever, that sensation that it'll cause will be forgotten the next day anyway.
And everyone else is going to forget it before you forget it.
That's right.
You know,
that's right.
And then you will also forget
but
it.
A lot of the failures is or unsuccessful or unfinished projects are for ourselves. Like we learn from it, right? Yeah. So when you say you have unfinished projects, are there any you would like to pick up again, or are they like they're done? They're done.
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, they're done. I'm just moving. I'm trying to look forward.
That's
I was
good.
such a different person. It just doesn't even, fit
It
anymore.
Doesn't fit.
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
But
I constantly have a new project happening in my mind. Constantly. Sometimes I feel some of them don't succeed quite the way it should succeed.
Yeah.
Because I've given time to something else rather than put all of my energy into one place. But I love it. I love the fact that I do umpteen things. I make short films. I produce a concert. I write a blog. I just like I'm working on this podcast. Yeah. So I feel like this is the kind of creative that I am. I just like the multidisciplinary approach. But I do want to come back to your album. When is it being released?
I'm recording my last thing on Monday. So
soon.
So hopefully soon. I started recording it last year. There were some certain things that I had to fix that didn't get done in the States. So I'm just back here this year recording one more thing, doing a couple of fixes. And then once I stop procrastinating, it'll be released. But there's no release date quite yet.
I wish you a very big, fat, juicy pineapple with this one.
Thank you.
Really, I think it'll be very nice to hear you a cappella.
Thank you.
And it'll be great to see Soseh as an artist, just as an individual artist.
Thank you.
Because we know you as Element Band, and we love you there. So I'm glad that you continue that as well. We talked about being a costume designer, but we didn't really talk about you as a singer and musician. And then, this was, I hope, a pleasant surprise to the audience that you also sing. You're a singer. You're a singer as far as, longer than you were a costume designer, basically.
Oh, I've always been a singer. And I feel very lucky to have two creative outlets. One that pays my bills and one that I just get to be free with, where I don't have to worry about selling or, doing all that stuff. So,
but I do hope that you'll make some money out of the album as well, because it's always a good feeling, right?
Yeah.
To feel appreciated as an artist, as a creative.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not always money that shows the appreciation. But money does help in the sense that you cover your expenses and you have more money to make another album.
Yeah, as long as it gives me enough to kind of move forward with the next one. I think it's important for non-Armenians to hear our music and to understand. It's a way for non-Armenians to kind of be brought into our culture and understand us and, maybe understand us better politically and, culturally and all that stuff. And it just becomes a more inclusive environment. And I felt that a lot in college because I was, in a world music program. So everyone was, connected to each other through music, but we were all from different parts of the world and studying different parts of the world, but we were all doing it together. And it was so fun.
You heard it here first, folks. Soseh will be a name to be remembered. Thank you for being here with us today.
Thanks for having me.
This was an awesome conversation. I look forward to hearing your music, and good luck with all the other projects that you have perhaps going to start.
Yeah, and I'll spill some, and
That's right.
and some I won't. It's going to be great.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned for our next episodes. Subscribe, follow us, and share.